Straight up with the breaking news here out of the Middle East. Iranian drones struck Israel, managing to penetrate Israel's air defenses. You're looking at damage at Bet Shean. This is near the Jordanian border. Israeli officials say that they have not found any casualties. Now, Israel and Iran, they traded more strikes overnight. Israel says that it eliminated that Iranian commander of the Quds Force, an elite branch of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. And Iran says that Israeli attacks hit 3 hospitals, killing 2 doctors. Now, talks between member nations of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, they include Iran's foreign minister, and they just wrapped up in Istanbul this morning. And he told reporters that if the U.S. gets involved in the conflict, it would be very dangerous for everybody. Watch.
In order for us to come back to diplomacy, the aggression should be stopped. It is obvious I cannot go to negotiation with the United States when our people are under bombardments, under the support of the United States.
A top EU official and foreign ministers from the UK, France, and Germany, they met with their Iranian counterpart in Geneva Friday. An Iranian source said that the talks started off pretty tense, but they became more positive. Joining me now, CNN's Clarissa Ward, live from Tel Aviv. Tell us more about, first, this commander that Israel says it eliminated.
That's right. Israel's defense minister this morning saying that, in his words, Saeed Izzati had been, quote, eliminated. He accused Izzati, who is part of the elite Quds Force within the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, of being in charge, essentially, of liaising between Iran and various different Palestinian factions, but particularly Hamas. He said that Izzati had been involved in the planning of October 7th. We've also heard from the IDF saying that this individual, Izzati, had the blood of ordinary Israelis on his hands. We have not yet heard any confirmation from the Iranian side, but certainly, Victor, fair to say that this conflict is not showing any sign of slowing down. This morning, as you mentioned in your intro, there were sirens in the north and the south as drones managed to penetrate Israel's air defenses. We saw some damage as a result of those drone strikes, but no casualties being reported. And it's worth noting that the IDF said that despite the fact that more than 1,000 drones have been launched from Iran towards Israel, 99% of them have been intercepted. That is not obviously the case with those very powerful ballistic missiles that Iran has been launching. So far today, though, we haven't seen any ballistic missile launches. The last one was about 2 or 3 this morning. And again, no casualties, some injuries, but no deaths. So now everybody waiting to see what will come next. And despite the fact that these diplomatic efforts are continuing to play out, few people here in Israel holding much hope out for those and genuinely not seeming to be terribly interested or focused on those diplomatic efforts, really favoring a military solution to this conflict, Victor.
Well, let's you and I turn toward the diplomatic efforts now and these talks between Iran and the E3 and EU. What do you know about them and any progress there?
It doesn't seem like any substantive progress was made. I mean, it's certainly an achievement that they took place at all and that they went well enough that a space was created for more talks to take place. If you talk to Israeli officials, they are very dismissive of these diplomatic efforts. Our Nick Robertson spoke to Israel's foreign minister, Gideon Sa'ar, yesterday, who basically said that he was skeptical of any diplomacy. And Israel has also made it clear that they're certainly not willing to entertain the idea of some kind of a ceasefire while the different parties involved get to the negotiating table. They are very intent on continuing to prosecute this conflict in the way that they have been. Although now, of course, there is something of a question mark as to whether the U.S. will intervene militarily, and if it does not, how that will impact Israel's ability to deal with this Fordo nuclear complex, which obviously is deep beneath a mountain. Israeli officials have estimated that the damage they've done so far has already set back Iran's nuclear program by 3 to 4 years. But the question really becomes, Victor, in the minds of Israel's military and political leaders, what is the metric for success? At what point can Israel declare mission accomplished? There's been a lot of speculation that perhaps the broader goal really here is to go for full-blown regime change with all the risk and danger that would entail. Certainly many in the international community working as hard as they can to prevent this from escalating any further. But so far, no real sense that those talks have gained much traction yet, Victor.
Clarissa Ward from Tel Aviv, thank you. We're just getting this in. An Iranian government official, the spokesperson, says that Israel's airstrikes have killed 54 women and children. Israel's conflict with Iran is entering now its second week, and Iranians are taking to the streets to protest Israel and President Trump's policy. CNN senior international correspondent Fred Pleitkin is in Tehran with more.
Death to Israel chants to a massive crowd after Tehran's Friday prayers. The streets packed for a protest against Israel's aerial campaign, but also the policies of the Trump administration. We will punch the United States and Israel in the mouth, he says. Trump, you are threatening my leader, this woman says. Don't you know my nation believes death is sweeter than honey? What do you have, Israel, he says. You have nothing. You are occupiers, unreligious. You're killing people, killing women. You kill everyone. You're terrorists. People here vowing not to back down as the conflict escalates and President Trump ponders U.S. involvement.
As you can see, thousands of people have turned up here in central Tehran. They're chanting, down with the USA, down with Israel, and they're warning if the Trump administration gets involved in the standoff between Israel and Iran, it will lead to direct confrontation between Washington and Tehran.
As Israel continues to hit targets inside Iran and the Iranians answer with missile barrages striking Israeli territory, Iran's foreign minister met with European nations.
We are entitled, tasked, and determined to defend our territorial integrity, national sovereignty, and security with all force. This is our inherent right.
Iran's leadership says air attacks are unifying people against Israel, a member of Iran's presidency calling on President Trump to rein the Israelis in.
President Trump can easily stop the war by only one telephone to Israel. But I don't know why he didn't do that.
With public support seemingly growing, Iran's leadership says it's ready for a long-term confrontation with Israel and possibly the United States as well. Fred Pleitkin, CNN, Tehran.
President Trump is saying that he will decide on U.S. involvement in Iran within 2 weeks max. Trump suggested that he's not considering placing U.S. troops on the ground as he considers decisions on Iran. He says that it would be very difficult to ask Israel to pause its strikes on Iran during talks over Iran's nuclear future, as Iran's foreign minister had requested. Let's go now to CNN reporter Camila DeChalis. What else is he saying?
Well, Victor, President Trump is really doubling down on giving himself, as you mentioned, this 2-week deadline. Now, it's pretty notable that the president, in other situations in his first presidency, has also imposed this 2-week deadline when it came to him deciding on whether to make infrastructure deals, when it came to whether he was going to decide to impose sanctions against Russia and other things in his administration. This is just a notable tactic that he has used time and time again. Take a listen to what he said yesterday about his deadline.
We're going to see what that period of time is, but I'm giving him a period of time, and I would say 2 weeks would be the maximum.
Now, Victor, we're told by White House officials that the reason why he's giving himself this 2-week time period is also because he is hoping that a diplomatic resolution comes about. But at this point in time, there are no signs of de-escalation.
And President Trump said again that his director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, is wrong on this time frame as to Iran's nuclear capabilities. What are we learning from this?
Well, Victor, there appears to be a lot of mixed messages when it comes between his intelligence community and what President Trump has said. We know that in this past March, the director of national intelligence testified before Congress stating that Iran was not in the point of building nuclear weapons. But just recently, President Trump has actually stated that Iran was in the late stages of building nuclear weapons. And this has become a point of contention because reporters have pressed him on the mixed messaging. And this is what he had to say about his director of intelligence.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
Now, Victor, we are told that at this point in time, Gabbard appears to be out of favor of Trump and really struggling to find her mark and her way into Trump's orbit in the White House. But it is pretty notable that after he made those remarks, Gabbard actually came to Trump's defense later that day and said that, in fact, that the intelligence community has now received information that Iran is now at a point where it can produce a nuclear weapon within weeks or months if they do decide to finalize the assembly.
Camila DeChalis for us in Washington. Thank you so much. Joining me now is Javed Ali, professor at the Ford School of Public Policy. Good to have you. I'm going to put a pin in that conflict, that disagreement, and come back to it at the end. But let's start here with Iran saying both that they are willing to consider diplomacy if Israel stops its attacks on Iran, but also that they don't trust the U.S. Let me play for you what the president said about the possibility of getting back to talks.
Request right now, if somebody's winning, it's a little bit harder to do than if somebody's losing. But we're ready, willing, and able, and we've been speaking to Iran, and we'll see what happens.